What's up, YouTube, man? It's your boy Game Like Will, man, back with another video. And listen, man, hold on. Got something on the lens real quick, man. Alright, so in this video, I'm just gonna be talking about setting up the date, bro. Cause typically when I set up the date, bro, I set it up a specific type of way. And lately I've been feeling just a little bit different, you know what I'm saying? I told you I went to the mall yesterday. I was, I ain't gonna call it riz. I think I'm gonna lay off that word a little bit because yeah, like it is that, but it's just like I just want to find a new word. But yeah, I just been talking to women, you know what I'm saying, just doing a little bit more. And so right, I haven't probably been on a date in like 2 weeks. I'm gonna be honest, like you feel me? And that's cool. That's not even a long time, but it kind of is for me to be a dating coach, right? But the logistics and things have been off. I've been busy. I've been trying to get this job. I've been trying to just do other things. So, I prioritize money over women anyway. But that's not this video, right? Because, when I tell y'all to go on dates, I always say make the date as inexpensive as possible. You could go for a walk in the park. You could buy, you don't even got to buy a loaf of bread. Typically, you could just take like 3 slices of this that's sitting around. If you live with your mom or live with, if you live with somebody, take 2 slices of bread, bro. I mean, y'all are not gonna be feeding the ducks the whole fucking time. Oh, oh, this is so fun. Oh my god, look, I can hook shot. No, you're not doing that shit. You're just like walking with her. Oh, okay, it's time for me to take a little plastic bag or the aluminum foil and give her a loaf of bread. I mean, a piece of bread type shit. She's gonna throw like 8. You rip the shit up. You throw about 8 different slices. Next thing you know, not only did y'all have like a little bit of rapport, conversation, good conversation, but y'all are actually having a little bit of activity together. Like, so the chemistry is not always built, fellas, in the conversation. It's built in a lot of the activities and bonding time that y'all are spending together. So I want to get into this topic real quick about pacing and leading because I talk about that every day. I don't think I'm ever going to stop talking about pacing and leading because where have you been all my life? I think that's the one thing that most young boys trying to grow into men, they just don't got this skill at all, right? Your mom walk in your room and she's talking to you. The, you're looking at her from a logical standpoint. You're like, okay, I did this. That's why she's acting like that. Or she did that. That's why I'm about to act like this. 2 plus 2 is 4 all the time type shit. And what I found is that women are nothing like that, right? And it's like, it's funny because I knew this when I was younger, but I kind of lost that idea. But I didn't know it was called pacing and leading. I just knew that, how can I put it? I knew that when you're spending time with a woman, you want to kind of like, I didn't even know that deep. I didn't even know all this shit. But what I'm saying is the game is about feelings. It's about emotion, especially with the woman. Now, of course, if you're playing basketball with the fellas, we still have emotions. Like if your bro telling you a story about something, you might hear him out, which is called pacing, right? You're getting on that same frequency. You're getting on that same vibration. Now it's way easier to get on that vibration because you're typically already on that vibration with your bro than to get on that vibration with a female, especially one that's not your girlfriend. A lot of y'all struggle doing this with y'all girlfriend, right? But it's literally just asking yourself, right? Say, for instance, it could be your mom, any woman. She walks in your room, starts talking to you randomly. You're like, damn, she ain't even knock on the door. She ain't do this. You think about all the ways she's disrespecting you, right? First, because that's really important to think about. But somehow that kind of clouds the ability to communicate with the opposite sex because while all of these things are popping up, these explosives are like, yeah, tell her to get out or tell her stop doing that or, fight this way, fight in this linear way type shit. The true answer is not that. You can correct somebody later, right? Or there's wittier ways to get your point across. And I love being a communication coach. Like I think that's where I'm gonna really shine and I'm gonna really like blossom with YouTube. Just communication, but pacing means that you're asking yourself, what type of spirit is this person in? I used to be real religious and shit, so it used to be like, But that's bad because it always made me frame it as the devil or God. So it was like black and white. It was still too logical, right? It was like she's either acting like the devil or she's maybe God is working on my situation. It leaves people real powerless in that regard, right? But from a scientific biology standpoint, you should look at it the right way, which is who am I talking to? Oh, she's a woman. So then that means by nature, I have to act these ways. Because if I act any other way, I risk the chance of being perceived as feminine or not knowing what I'm doing or being seen as green, inexperienced, young, immature. And these things only do what? Gives you more situations in the future to have to so while people are focusing on the devil and God, women are looking directly, or I ain't gonna say they looking, they're emoting, or they're reflecting what you're giving them. So I'm not going to say religion is destructive, but there are pros and cons in everything. And science and religion are across the street from each other, but they meet in the middle. So like I said, you could use it, but don't use it for everything. Um, so pacing and leading would be more like asking myself, what type of emotion is my mother in when she broke into my door, right? Or her door. That's what your mother is going to say, right? This is my door. I paid for it. So for all the confusion, you just would ask like, what type of spirit is she in? Because from there, you have way more leverage. You have no leverage with a woman when you're going to go logic. There's no leverage because they don't speak logic. It's like speaking English to a Chinese person and they only speak Chinese. You ever try to bag a girl and you're like talking to her, she's like, I speak no English. You're like, damn, they didn't even know you point in doing this shit. That's how women feel. It's like when you start talking logic, they're like, all right, I'm out. That's why y'all be like, yo, how can she just give up on the conversation so quick? Once I start making sense, it's because she don't. It's not about sense. It's about relate. It's about rapport, and it's about pacing the other person and kind of speaking their language a little bit so that you can kind of like dip your pinky toe in their world, right? While still being masculine, because masculine men could do that, right? But what I'm saying is, you can't lead somebody out of, and you know, even in the Bible they say men are supposed to lead women out of chaos, out of captivity type shit, and men are the head of the household. They say all that for a reason, and I'm showing you in this message that this is what they're getting at. You can't lead a person from, like, for instance, if Rome catches on fire and I'm in Connecticut, then how can I do anything about that? But if I'm traveling through Rome and Rome catches on fire, I can participate in the healing process. So a man can't lead a woman out of nowhere he ain't willing to go. So like all y'all young men out here thinking like, oh, I'm too strong to ever feel what a woman feeling and shit like that. That shit is kind of like, that's why you ain't getting no pussy. But first of all, let me give you an example on how to get a girl out on a date scenario, because again, like, you don't have to be so dictatorial about everything, right? Like a dictator, you could be really, really, really smooth and indirect with getting a girl to go out on a date with you. So pacing is matching her current mindset or feelings, first of all, right? Like I said, I was thinking, I'm texting this woman right now that I met in the mall, and I'm saying, I'm like, yo, how am I going to like skip through all the bullshit and just get her out on a date? Because I really don't feel like doing all that. Like, I already know you look good, you know, you my type, you live close by enough, and I want to speed this shit up. I just want to maybe go to the beach with you, maybe go get some tea type shit. Like, I don't want to turn this into a 3 week internet dialogue. I don't want to do that shit. So it says realize where she is before transitioning to the invite, right? Because most of the time, a lot of young men mess up because they're like, okay, let me just tell her what I want to do. You're so nervous and so inexperienced that you jump the gun and just tell her what you want to do, which is very direct. But you can't lead somebody from a place where they don't feel connected to you. So that's the first flaw. It's so obvious that it's inobvious. It's like you can't do that. But you can if you got a mouthpiece and you're like, hey, listen, I want to meet you here at this time, do this and do that. But even then, you still got to talk to her until that day, right? So you got to build rapport, bro. And I always use that word because I stand on that mountain. You got to do that. So you better off doing it all the time, not sometime. Whenever you write a female back, whether it's text message, call, FaceTime, always think in terms of rapport and pacing and leading, which are kind of the same thing, but it's not, because pacing and leading builds rapport. But rapport could also be built through indifference, by breaking rapport, or that's a PUA term, or teasing and bantering, or nagging, right? I always talk about how you could build rapport in the negative or in the positive, right? It's like if you get hungry and you got positive food and you got negative food, but if you're really hungry, you're just gonna take the food a lot of the cases, and that's what it is with also with relationships. And I know that's a bad analogy because you're like, yo, well, toxic ass nigga, da da da. But no, for real, like it's not women. Hey, human beings, we like a little bit of like I seen a girl on YouTube earlier show attitude. I'm like, damn, she's sexy when she showed that attitude. Like we like that, but not all day long, right? We like balance. Like if you're super nice, but then you stand up for yourself a little bit, that's attractive, right? So what I'm saying is that before you invite her out, realize where she is and try to meet her there emotionally. Meaning you have to actually have the bandwidth to. I always tell you I download a feelings chart because that shit is like magic. Is gonna help you to be able to locate what feeling she's feeling. Oh, she seems excited, or oh, she seems, it may be a woman you ain't even been talking to all day, but based off the last sentence she told you, you could read that, look at a feelings chart, and do a comparison to what she might be feeling. And it's gonna work just the same. Because women like guys who have a great imagination and make good, predictable measurements. Again, Rome analogy. Who told them to build Rome? Did somebody have to tell them to do that? Or did they just have this manly wit or this manly intuition that said, I'm a Greek god and this world is mine. And if someone gets in my way, I'll crush him like an ant. Let no, let us build Rome. And then some other asshole was like, yo, you know what? Sounds like a good idea. It might be impossible, but shit, let's try this dumb shit. And then they tried it day after day, week after week, month after month. And what did they start with? A thought or a feeling. And they didn't need no permission. They guessed, they measured, and they made the moves. And many people probably died in the process of doing that, as far as them, fucking up. But what I'm saying is, women respect that type of honor, right? A man who sticks to his plan, right? A man who sticks, that's called integrity, right? Like, we're raised by women nowadays, so we're so quick to look for approval, which kills the attraction. You can't look for approval; it's going to kill the attraction. You have to pick a side. You're either going to want to um, kiss women's ass and sacrifice the attraction and feel safe, or you're going to be more on the bad boy taking risks and telling her what's up type deal. So I'm trying to give y'all that type of attitude, but that come with experience. But what I'm saying is that you can't take someone out of captivity if you don't meet them at captivity. So you got to understand, like, every emotion. I like to look at emotions as captivity because God said they're in chaos, so we got to guide them into to fucking making some sense. So God never said, though, don't understand chaos. God never said don't know what feelings are and don't be able to name and title. Oh, that girl over there look like she's lonely right now. That girl over there look like she's having a bad day. This girl looks kind of nervous and shy. Um, This girl, she just looked like she in her own world. She might be bored. Hmm. And when you're doing that and getting really good at feelings, you also get good with your own self too. With it's healthy for yourself too. But you're able to do what? Pace. So pacing is making a statement or saying something to her that shows. Now I'm gonna give you an example. Example would be I can tell, right? Perfect way to start it off. I can tell, and this is through text or wherever. I can tell. You can say this in person. I can tell you're the type who loves spontaneity and fun, right? I could tell you're the type you love fun and spontaneity, right? It's got this I'm reading your vibe or mind or whatever you want to call it. Vibe, mind, kind of on the same frequency, right? I'm reading your frequency type of. And that's what I say about having that bad boy image. It's like I'm reading your image. I don't need you to tell me. You know how many girls I fucked in the last month? I don't need you to tell me how you feel. That's what I'm talking about. So you're saying I can tell you're the type who loves spontaneity and fun, right? And what am I aiming to do? What is my end goal? I'm aiming to set up the date, but I'm starting it off with that. So most women is not going to say no to that. And fellas, you got to be okay with women just ghosting you and I. It's just who cares? You're supposed to try to get better at game. It doesn't matter. But what I'm saying is that you can either be direct or indirect with setting up the date. It's the balls in your court. So when I pace you with that, then I was like, I gotta lead you, right? So whatever she says back or whatever, I might say something and say, you know, when we hang out, it'll feel like time just flies by. That's leading. And it's a command in there. When we hang out, when we hang out, which is an action, a verb, which is a command. When we hang out, that's the type of stuff that make a girl say, well, who told him I want to hang out with him? But she likes it because it's like he's taking initiative, but he's also being seductive and slick about it. When we hang out, it's gonna be like it'll feel like time just flies by. And it's a little bit teasing because remember, like I'm telling you about where your actions, where your behaviors are gonna be in a little bit. You're gonna be with me hanging out, having fun. I'm not asking, I'm telling, but I'm not telling you like I'm a police officer or, whatever, but I'm giving authority. I'm coming from a powerful position. So I'm into the art of talking without giving your power away. Because it's not rocket science to see that when some people talk, they just, here's my power. And when some people talk, they're still able to feel like themselves. And that's very beautiful and powerful. Next thing you could do is highlight emotional experience versus logics, right? You could say something like, imagine us, which is a command, imagine us grabbing tea sometime. Imagine us grabbing tea somewhere. Hold on. All right, so imagine us, what you would say, you would focus on or highlight emotional experience versus logistics. I talked about logistics before. Logistics is the logical side of things. Like I said, where she live? Where do you live? Do you got a car? Do you want to meet her? Do you want her to meet you? These are logistics, but I'm telling y'all right now to focus on emotional experience. So imagine us grabbing tea somewhere. I keep saying somewhere. Fuck. Imagine us grabbing tea. Oh, it is somewhere. Imagine us grabbing tea somewhere, chilling. Oh wait. Imagine us grabbing tea somewhere, chill, laughing, and just having a good time. You'll forget everything else for a bit. Now that's casual, right? It sounds very casual, but again, it's very seductive because I'm leading. I'm imagine us grab tea somewhere, chill, laughing, and it's conversational, right? And I always talk about how I want my game to be very conversational. I don't want none of that overly direct shit because it's just like, you know, it's just that to me that's not really it's not really smooth. Like smooth is somewhere in between conversational and direct, exactly where I am all the time trying to be, right? Because a lot of these women, they're just too scary for you to even do that direct shit half the time. But the other one is make it low pressure. So you could say something like, let's meet up and see if we vibe in person as much as we do here. Worst case scenario, we'll have a good laugh. And again, conversational. Um, y'all got to get comfortable being conversational because it's so many ways to not get the pussy or get that. Like so many ways not to get it that you have to just kind of like it's kind of like learning how to knit or learning how to sew. It's a craft. So it's like it's so many ways to fuck up, but it's also so many ways to get it that you just have to somewhat dance with it for a long enough time to where it's just second nature for you to know what not to do. And if you know what not to do, it kind of pushes you to where you just automatically know what to do. So it's just like just keep subscribe to my channel and keep learning. All right. So the last but not least is build anticipation. Now, one of the coaches that I listened to for a minute, he always talk about painting a picture in her mind. Right. You could paint a picture like like a Mona Lisa type of picture or a stick figure. So when you say things like, "Hey, I want to see you," and uh, you say like simple things where it's bland and you could think of a newspaper or a black and white stick figure photo. You're not really you're like I want to see you come over and I want because da da da, but you may be being more direct, but which is kind of attractive, but you're not being expansive and detailed with what's going to happen when you get to your place. So because you're not being vivid, which is sharp image, you're not really getting in her head and you're not making her say, this seems really, really like I do got work, but I might take off, or you're not. You don't want her to take off from work, but you see what I'm trying to say. Like you're not contrasting anything of importance in her life by not doing that. So it's better for you to get good, and this is where learning poetry or any type of art or just like just storytelling and stuff. It can help you become more crafty with you know your five senses. Like instead of saying, the fridge, you would say the white fridge or the um albino fridge that's set in the middle of the spacious kitchen where the light gleamed very um the rectangular light gleamed. And don't be afraid, because bro, I had to really learn like with art and rapping and poetry and all that. One of the first things I learned with poetry was how to edit that shit, because when you make a poem you got to go back and revise it, and when you revise it, what you really want to do is you want to look at every sentence and ask yourself, what don't I need in this? Did I say and? You don't really need to say the word and. You don't really need to say the word but. You don't really need to say the word certain words, right? You want to kind of like deduce and condense the shit down. So you want to be very rich in detail and very rich in senses like smell, touch, hair, color, um, feelings, emotion. But you want to be and yeah, like bodily emotion, like bodily feelings, like um I said it the other day, like the word wiggle or the word intense, right? That's like touch or feeling. That's a feeling, intense. It's a body descriptive word. So it'd be like you know, that intense feeling that you get when you're on a roller coaster and you go all the way up the roller coaster and your stomach inside and you get butterflies in your stomach and you get this feeling of um I'm trying to think. I'll go back to the drawing board. But you can talk in a way where you're actually seductive. And what I'm trying to say is you gotta. It's cool. This is called building anticipation. Building anticipation. I always wonder when my coach would say, "Paint a Mona Lisa instead of a fucking stick figure, I'd be like, what does that really mean? That's just like he's basically saying, build. This is what it is: building anticipation. Y'all guys don't build no fucking anticipation. So when you telling a girl, let's go out on a date, she's saying she might say yeah, she might say no, but if you even if she say yeah, she's basically doing what I just did. She's putting her hand on the table. Yeah, I accept. But now from okay, say today's Saturday, and say the date is on Monday. I set it up I typically set dates up 2 days away, one or two, right? Two probably typically though. So I give myself like one whole day just to like talk to her type shit, just so I can make sure. Because the coach I used to always listen to, he say, you really want to, what's the word? Marinate, marinate her, if that makes sense. Because what you want to do is you want her. By the time we go on a date, you want it to be more hugs and kisses instead of like space between us. So if you're really talking that shit, rizzing her up, and that you got a whole day to really talk to her, or a whole 2 days to talk to her, you should be doing a lot of the heavy lifting by the way you're talking to her. And by the time she really ready to get to see you, you probably don't talk seductively to her already at this point. You probably don't talk a little freaky a little bit, and a little push pull, a little banter, whatever. Just mixed up a bunch of shit, right? And then what's happening is she can't wait to see you. That's all that's fucking gonna happen. And if you're doing it right, and again, you're building anticipation a little bit, storytelling a little bit, not storytelling, but picture painting, right? A little bit. And we're gonna see what he said. This was quite simple. What he put right here was one sentence. He said, I bet hanging out with me would be full of surprises. You might find yourself laughing more than you expected. It's very simple, one liner, but it's still you still could feel the magic in that motherfucker. So it's like, and then also words like I bet. That's a confident phrase, right? Um, I bet. I forgot the other ones. I just got a list of like 20 of them, but um, you can trust or um, I forgot the other one, but use these confident words, bro. Like at the beginning of your sentences, sometimes because that's showing her that you're certain. And most guys are not certain, so why would she want to hang with a guy that ain't certain? So that's another thing you want to think about. But when you're painting these pictures in her mind, you certainly want to be certain because you're storytelling on what it's going to be like when she come over. And you're supposed to be guiding her through these feelings. Like when you get to the door, I can't wait because you know what? I'm gonna do this to you. And you're not even gonna be able to be on my lawn for 2 seconds. You ain't even gonna be on my lawn for 2 seconds. Um, I bet, right? I bet because I know you're gonna wear blank 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 that I told you to have on, and I'm gonna do blank 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 when I see you. What am I doing? I'm painting that motherfucking theater. It's a theater in her head. Instead of it being a brain, it's a theater. You feel me? And that's what's gonna happen. So building anticipation is a skill, and that's what I'm gonna probably make a video about next, maybe. I don't know, I'm not sure. But anticipation, movie theater talk. We call it movie theater talk. I like that. Uh MTT movie theater talk. I don't know. Just coming up with things we won't forget, and because it's important before the date that you really get up in her head, bro. And because when you, like I said, when y'all link up or go on a date, you want her to touch you, and to me that's a symbol, right? I don't really want to touch you. I want to make you touch me. That's power. You know what I'm saying? So like this video, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. I just gave y'all 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 ways to pace and lead to set up the date. With pacing and leading, that was all pacing and leading because it all started with um it all started with the pace, which was I can tell you're the type who loves spontaneity and fun, right? And what you're saying, I can tell, right? You're saying I can tell, which is signaling that I'm reading you based on maybe your gestures, your feelings, your facial, based off the February method, your facial expressions, your energy, which could be translated as another E word, emotion, and your body language. If you're not looking at these three things when you get around women, then you're full of shit. And then so when you see, if you do look and you see that, okay, then you tell her, I can tell. Started off with that. I can tell. Well, Will, what can you tell? Whatever it is I'm looking at. I could tell you're not in the best mood right now, but that I could tell that you may be feeling this or that. But hey, I could tell that you like spontaneity and fun, blah 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 blah, right? And then we're leading right after that. We're pacing and leading, pacing and leading, pacing and leading, pacing and leading. Because why do I emphasize on this shit so much? Because that's what the smooth guys are doing, bro. That's what I'm telling you. If you just go around a female trying to lead, they might follow if you really got that game. Yeah, of course. But at the same time, I'm talking to guys across the fucking world. You want to pace first and then lead. Eventually, they will just follow your lead just because they so used to just following your lead. That's what women do. They follow the lead of the guy that is that they trust. So you want to think in terms of rapport. What's going to get me the rapport, not what's going to get me the ass. Which that's going to do that too, but you want to build the rapport. So listen, man. Let me know in the comments down below what y'all think, man. 30-minute video. It's not too long, but it is. About to upload this right now, and yeah. I always say that the minimum is 2 dates per week if you can. If you only could do one, do one. But make sure that you're um pacing and leading yourself. Ask yourself, how does that make you feel? What does it make you feel? Does it make you feel lonely? Does it make you feel like you're having a lot of fun in your life? Where does that make you feel? Right? And then you want to lead yourself into, you know, what's gonna make you have more excitement or fun or joy. For me, two days out the week, that's cool, bro. Like it's not too much. I don't want to be on a date every day. You feel me? So bare minimum type shit, and just enough to keep my life and the ball rolling, and me, actually having in person in real life, scenarios with women. Because in reality, at the end of the day, we got to go get this money simultaneously, so you don't got all the time in the world. So it just works perfectly for me, because you want women to feel like you're giving them some time, not that you got a lot of time to give. So man, it's your boy Game Like Will. Let me know in the comments if y'all agree, disagree, whatever the fuck y'all think. Let me know, man. I'm out this bitch.